Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Leona.
I have this walker here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice one.
yeah, no kidding. It's a fancy one, but not needed anymore.
Oh, okay.
And you don't want it back, so.
I think there's one downstairs over there.
Okay, can I take it down?
Yeah.
Is it, the door is open, right?
Oh,
Yeah. But the down in the third one?
not too sure. I think it's probably in the
Hi. No, I haven't had a chance.
Please go down to your car, push the fucking button, and see what's going on.
Would you please stop talking? Thank you. Okay. Where is it?
Hello? Rick, are you there? No. Okay. Rick? Hello?
This is Dean that just joined from Calgary East. So.
Okay. Hello? No.
How many people are signed up, do you know?
Okay. Rick, are you listening? Can you hear me? Rick? Oh, great. Okay.
Rick, can I see your phone changer, please?
Yep. I'll put it down at the bottom.
Okay. Rick?
Your input.
Down at the bottom. Right there.
Okay. Okay. Lord. Rick? God, I can't hear him.
I only see Rick's name. I don't see anything that indicates that he's showing up on here.
Okay, can people hear me? It's Fran.
Fran, this is Dean Houghton in Calgary East.
Okay, so you can at least hear me. I'm trying to get Rick to hear me.
That's not this though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just wait because he's going to start the program to everybody, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Fran,
Yeah.
it's Liz from Red Deer.
Hi, Liz.
What is supposed to be on the page? What am I supposed to?
You should be seeing the Rotary page with people in
Oh.
action.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's what you're going to see.
Okay.
And so Rick is going to start the program, everybody. Once we get everybody on, we got 70 some people, which is a lot. You can duplicate, and he'll talk to you about that. But if you want to just follow me, that's the way to go too. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious. Sometimes you got to tell your computer to hook to the computer, right? Mm-hmm. My computer, you have to go in and share. Oh, okay. It doesn't automatically share. I don't know if hers does or not.
So I think everybody needs to mute.
That would be unusual.
I'm going to mute
So-
my microphone. It's
to do that.
see?
If everybody else, except for
Why
Rick,
is it not showing up?
That's a good question.
mute
We've
everybody.
done this before.
You have to tell your computer to
Allow you to
itself
share.
with another screen, because mine you do. Let's go into your video and see what you've got there.
To my video. What's that? What video?
Guys,
How you doing?
okay.
Just right. Good to see you.
Hello? All right, we're muting everybody. Rick?
I'm on here, Fran.
Oh, good. I'm beginning to wonder. So I think we are muting everybody else, are we?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, leave Christine open too, I think.
Yeah.
And
And, okay.
we got, well, just
Okay.
21 showing up now.
Okay, so we'll just wait for, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm connected and ready to go.
Okay.
Whenever everybody else is.
And you should be able to see the screen, right?
I can. Yes, I can.
I think some people would seem to be having trouble, but they were solving it from their end, I think. So. Yeah, I got 25 on now, right now.
Good.
So. Okay.
We still have 5 minutes, so a lot of people are just probably waiting until that last minute before they
Okay.
log in.
Yeah.
I'm logged in, Nixon.
Okay.
Welcome.
Rick, do I have to mute people, or can they should all mute themselves, hey?
I think if I look correctly, you've got it set up for, well, that's video.
I had it set up to mute, except I can manage the participants from here.
Yeah. I don't think I can, so.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look then. I'll kind of go through and see. I think they can also mute themselves, but
Yes, they can. Yep.
Yeah, it's in the upper right corner.
Yeah, so we might ask them to mute themselves, and then we'll go from there.
So if you mute yourself, what does that do?
It's just that we can't. Your voice won't show up. Okay. So.
Okay, I'm on on my phone because we couldn't get the voice to come on the computer.
Okay. So maybe.
Okay, so that's how I'm connected.
Okay. I can see your phone. So I think if you just can. Okay.
Hi, Fran. Jane here.
Hi. I can mute a lot of people here, so I'll do.
I'm going to mute myself right now.
Okay.
Hi, Fran. Marlene here.
Hi.
Dan here.
Okay.
We show up as one.
Brian, are you logging in?
Pardon?
Sorry, I was yelling at Brian to log in.
Oh.
Sorry. He's in the kitchen. I'm in the office.
Oh.
Oh my.
Okay, we're at 31.
Good.
So.
And I would still give it to 7 o'clock. And then,
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to start before because if we've got that many people, we don't want them coming in while we're talking. So my clock on this computer is way wrong. So.
Test.
Oh.
It's hard to say if there's making any noise or not.
Alex, see in your face, Alex.
Your camera, the last clip.
Okay.
So these are all the people that are already linked in? Christine?
I've had a couple of people email me in the last day or so saying they couldn't join, but I let them know that we will be recording this. So,
So I
Not audio or not, but with HDMI usually comes through that.
So to me, it looks like it's recording it.
Okay.
I just can see pause recording and stop recording.
To the bottom.
Hopefully that's what we're doing. What's this?
Can you get to the speaker icon on your screen, Alex? In the bottom right corner? Is there anything more?
Yeah, we are recording, just so you know, to the cloud.
I'm wondering if you have to phone in.
Can you mute everybody again, Fran, and then?
Right.
I've tried to be keeping up on muting, but I guess we'll try again here.
Yeah.
It sounds like Liz is on here.
I'm on. Can we turn the sound up?
Got an external speaker you can plug in, do you? Could have brought one of those.
I'll put it on mute.
Okay, how do you turn the sound up?
I don't know who I'm hearing because I can't see.
Exit full screen for a second. Let's just. It's working. Let's see, this is going to work out really well.
He's gonna have the password 403-346-1053.
On which? Nerd 5G?
Fran, maybe what I'll do is just to save you a bit of time here. I don't know if you've got everybody muted or not, but it's got quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah, I pretty well think I have everybody muted.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say we can start and others can join in as we go along because it's just 7 now. And if you're ready to go, Fran and Rick.
Yeah, I think Rick was going to start. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, new technology, not so new technology, but newer technology for us. So good evening, everybody, and welcome. I want to thank you for joining us this evening on this, our second round of club leadership training, this one with specific focus on setting your goals and helping you migrate around Rotary Club Central and My Rotary. If everybody comes on that registered, there should be actually 76 participants, so I'm really quite excited about that. I don't see that anybody's webcam is on, but if yours is on, please turn it off. I think Fran has got everybody muted. So as she goes through her presentation, if you have a question, please go to the chat dialog box. It'll either be at the bottom or the top of your screen, depending on how this is configured on your computer. And we will stop from time to time throughout Fran's presentation to address your questions. So I hope everybody enjoys tonight's session, has a good learning experience, and I'd like to now hand over the program to past District Governor Fran Leggett. Fran, take it away.
Hey, thank you. Well, welcome, everybody. So my plan tonight is to kind of go through My Rotary with you, and step by step. So obviously we'll start with signing in, and I think we did ask all of you to get a My Rotary password. So I'll just quickly go through that. So when you get to rotary.org, you click on My Rotary, which should bring up your signature. I find that sometimes I have to sign in twice, but we'll just hope that this starts here. A little slow. Okay. So, okay, I'm already signed in. So what would come up is for you to sign in, and I think most of you have already done that. But you would know that you're signed in by having up top, profile, delegation, account settings, etc. So what I'm intending to do tonight is to go through some of the things on the top line here with My Rotary. And very quickly, probably, because mostly I think you'll learn about these by trying them. But I wanted you to understand what's up there. In my mind, some of this, each one is often, there are different things that are redundant, but you can usually find everything and sometimes twice. So we'll just go through each step. Rick, are there any questions there? I don't think there should be.
Not so far. Thanks,
Okay.
Fran.
All right, so we're going to start with exchange ideas. And so what is under here, discussion groups. So this is actually probably something a lot of you don't use very often, but there are sort of groups that if you're really interested in kind of connecting with people throughout the world, it's a really good way to start up with a discussion group. There's actually one for Rotary Club presidents for this year. So if you scroll down all of them, there are pages and pages of these, so that you can see there's over 9 pages of these, and you might find them kind of interesting. I belong to one with women in Rotary. So sometimes, you know, if you're looking for an answer, you might look up some of these groups and find a group. If you wanted to start a group, you could also start a group. So there are all sorts of things. So that's all groups. And then if I click on my groups, it'll show you that I belong to Women in Rotary, and there are 941 women. And so you get notifications if you're interested in that type of thing. So it's kind of a good idea to exchange ideas and see what's there. The other thing that this tells you all about are all the different events, like International Convention. So if you ever wanted to find out more information about that, the conventions there, the Assembly, Council on Legislation, which is coming up. If some of somebody can mute, we can hear you. Rotary Institutes. So sometimes we want to know, if I go back to exchange ideas, when the Rotary Institutes are. And actually this site is quite good from the standpoint of it talks about the institutes, and actually if you scroll down you would even find where all the institutes are throughout the world. And for those people who don't know the zones, we're in 3224. All usually have an institute where people in the zone get together. And ours this year is in Niagara Falls, and I'm sure Christine can tell you more about it, or Dan.
Yes, okay. It's in Niagara Falls, and they've changed the name. They're moving towards zone conferences rather than institutes.
Yeah.
Get away from that name. So yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so all sorts of other things, project fairs. If you don't know very much about that, there are certain areas in the world that hold project fairs so that people can attend them and find out what projects are out there. They give you all the sorts of dates, locations, programs. And so there's some in South America. I often see them. There's a West Africa. This one is South America, the Uniendo America. So if you're looking for a project, you might want to see about going to it or attending things like that. So those type of things. And then finally, Rotary Day at the United Nations. So if you didn't know, we've been connected with the United Nations for many, many years. And we actually have a Rotary Day in November where over 1,000 Rotarians often go to the UN or into other places to celebrate our connection with the United Nations. We actually helped draft some of the constitution and stuff for the United Nations. So we actually have quite a role. So if you go over Club Connections, they have things on Rotary clubs. So it's basically information on where you can find out ideas, what are Rotary clubs. So they talk about Rotary clubs, how you would start a club, what about e-clubs, your international connections, how about twin clubs? I don't know if we have any in our district. Do we have any twin clubs in our district? I don't know. Things about friendship exchange, Rotarian action groups. So all the things where Rotarians connect to each other. And there's so many different ways that we connect. So it's another good way for you to discover how we connect. So that's basically all about exchanging ideas. So if there are any other questions there, we can move on if there aren't any.
None so far, Fran. You're doing a pretty good job.
Okay, so we'll move on to take action. And so once again, you're going to find all sorts of things. So foundation is in here. So how do you give? So if you're taking action, the ways to give, how you give, planned giving, donor recognition. So this would be a really good spot for your foundation people to go in and find out, okay, what's in there? How do we give to the foundation so you can donate to Rotary? And they kind of go through all the different things. Why should I donate? How does the Rotary Foundation use my money? So in some ways, that's a really good site if you've got new people and you want them to learn all about donating. And so things like that. So that's basically, and you'll find that that is repeated again when you go back down to foundation. But basically, so taking action, the first bit is all about giving, so foundation, and you can actually give on that site. The next one, more about projects and things like that. So if it's really sensitive. So here you've got take action, so you can develop projects. So if you're trying to plan a new project, you can go in here and they'll give you clues on planning and organizing, acquiring resources, etc. And we'll get into Rotary Club Central later and project life cycle. And then this one is, I think, somewhat new. This is Rotary Ideas. That's under this heading. And we'll just turn in and take a quick look at it. So it kind of gives you some background on ideas that are out there. So if it just pulls it up. So they talk about you can contribute an idea. So here are some featured projects. So you can look at things like, okay, how much funds have been contributed volunteer hours, contributed materials, and contributed partnerships. So you could click on this and find out more about projects. So it's, I think, a fairly new site, but if you're looking for types of projects that you might be interested in, or you want to post your own project, that's kind of there. You can start a project, you can talk about your club. So it's kind of just another way for you to have more information and not to feel like you're sort of starting from nothing. So that's kind of that. And then we go to Produce Showcase, and I won't click on it, but that's where you can go in and post, again, pictures of your projects and talk about what you're doing and see what other people are doing throughout the world. I don't think it's used as much as they would like, but it's something to think about when you're looking for projects as well. Then Empower Leaders, this just tells you things like how to sponsor Rotaract Club, Interact, RILA, start a scholarship, all these things that maybe these type of things will help you if you're wanting to do that type of thing. And again, we have giving and apply for grants. So they talk to you all about the grants and what you would do. So that's sort of under take action. So all those different things are sort of how you would do it. Learning and reference, this is actually quite, oh, I should ask our name questions under that. Probably not.
No, there isn't, but we have several people that have come on since we've started.
Okay.
If we could kindly ask them to mute their sound, that would be great.
Yeah, so can people please mute, because we can hear in the background. Thank you. So what I'm doing for those who have just arrived, I'm just going through my Rotary and going through the different headings just to give you an overall view of what's there. And the reason I'm doing this is I don't think a lot of people really know very much about what's there. There's huge amounts of information. Sometimes it's sort of overwhelming, but it's actually quite useful, a lot of it. So learning and reference is, let's see if we can pull this up. So here's something where if you've got new people or if you're trying to get some of your members up to speed, because what we always find is, people don't really understand. So these things talks about Rotary, the structure, the leadership, all of those different things, and even the history. And so you can go in and click on them and they'll have a lot of information. And then governance, if you're into governance, it's all there. And then learn by role, they'll give you a new member role, president, secretary. And so people can learn what people do, etc. And then there's the Learning Center, and I'm just going to take you there. This is actually, I've used this a couple of times. And so you'll see again, I have to sign in twice for some reason. However, it'll just take a minute. Okay, we're just pulling it up now.
Oh, while you're going there, Fran, I'll mention that Rick and I are both in a project right now where we can see our members and the modules that they are studying in the Learning Center. So yeah.
That's good, yeah. So I think a lot of people don't know that this is here. So the Learning Center, there's a course catalog, and then you can go through, and there's all of these different sort of webinars and PowerPoints where you can go through and choose one and spend a bit of time learning more and more about Rotary. And sometimes, as I said, we have new members, and one thing not sure that all of us do very well are getting our new members involved and teaching them what's out there. So there's Rotary courses in English and all sorts of different languages if you want it. And then you just click on them, and once you enroll in it, and once you've finished, it will say that you have taken it. So this is actually quite a nice site. You just have to explore it. So my point to you is, once again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on these things, but it's very good for a lot of information. and helpful, I think, where you're trying to teach people on what our organization is about. So just so you, yeah.
Just interjection on the Learning Center there. I noticed for whatever reason, we don't need the second sign-in anymore.
Good. I don't know why I still do, but I
didn't need it today anyway. And then the other thing is, if you look at those modules there at the bottom row, you'll see basically the time it takes. They estimate that it'll take you to go through it. So you can budget your time quite effectively, and it's a very intuitive type of a program, and at the end, you will get a certificate and you go into the database.
Yeah, it's actually quite useful, I think. And there's quite a few on membership, which of course we all know that we're really pushing these days. So you can visit the center, view the course catalog, and decide what you want. Yeah, Rick, I don't know, when I was in Evanston, I told them I had to sign in twice and they couldn't understand why I did.
Well, you must have got through to them.
Well, I guess so, but I still seem to be signing in. They'll get to me. I'm going to skip management right now because we're coming back to it. That's one where Rotary Club Central is, and that's sort of one of the things we're going to spend a bit of time on. Rotary Foundation, again, how do you apply for grants, ways to give, more about the Rotary Foundation, which is somewhat a duplication of what you've already seen. And that's what I mean when I say they often duplicate the material, but you can find it in a number of different spots. News and media. Well, one thing they talk a lot about is the Office of the President. So again, more information, what the magazines are, so you can look at the Rotarian. There is a blog on here, Rotary Voices blog. So I noticed the other day when I was in here. So basically, this one is about innovation through Rotary, so that people write up, again, more information, you know, what the project is, ways change the way I see the world. So somebody writes a little blog, more information. And so somebody decides that they want to put, the one I noticed, and I'm just going to try to pull it up here, is introducing young leaders to human rights. And for those who don't know, in Winnipeg, through the Human Rights Museum, they're offering a program to introduce young people to the peace and human rights. So it's sort of like our Adventures in Citizenship. So there's a little bit of a blog about that program there, which is a fairly new program. So it's really good. Any questions there? No? No. Rick, we're good?
We are good.
Okay.
I got to remember to unmute myself.
Okay, so that's sort of interesting when you see that news and media, I mean, you've got so many informations. You've got your brand center, which it gives you all the different brands. Rotary Images, if you ever need an image that you want to pull up and use somewhere, they've got amazing number of images, videos. Rotary Leader is just, I get that newsletter often. News and features, if you're interested, you can follow it in a calendar, etc. And so those are things where sometimes if you're looking, maybe if you're looking for a Rotary Minute or something to talk to your club about, those are places you can go where you can get information. They even have, and I think it's in the media center. Let me pull it up. Takes a minute. So this is the press center here. And so they would have all sorts of information that you might not know about, where they partner, they're all press releases, et cetera, and pictures. And so, you know, sometimes you're looking for some information to just kind of tell your club about, so you could look at that. They have virtual reality. You can get an app for your iPhone if you want, and it's a virtual reality app. So it's on here. So that's something new they've added. So they have current virtual reality films, 2 drops of patience. So you can either have your iPhone or your Android with it. So those are types of things that, okay. So these come up in different sites. So I'll just go back to the, okay. This is all in the news thing. So once again, there's tons and tons of things that you can learn, etc. So the last one here is Member Center, and basically, let's see if I can pull it down. Okay, and that would just take you in. It's just okay. And again, for those who don't know, things like referring a new member, what tools you have. We'll get into this Rotary Club Central, which is really the point that we're here for tonight. Global Rewards, that's a benefit program. I haven't used it. I don't know, is anybody else? Christine or Rick, have you used that?
Yeah, I used it locally for oil change.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there are many benefits to this program, and one of them is the connection to Amazon. So I have a couple of questions gone into RI about how this works with Amazon.
Yeah.
But basically, as a part, you get the opportunity to contribute to Rotary by using Amazon. So it's a fantastic tool, and we're actually exploring that right now.
Yeah, it'd be good to know because I didn't realize they do that, and I use them occasionally. So thanks. That's really good. So awards recognition. So again, a lot of information, and you can see again a lot of duplication, the Rotarian, which you saw before, etc. If you want to get things from Rotary, you can shop it here. Licensed vendors, it'll take you there. So a lot of information, and more again about the International Convention. So those are the main ones. So the one that we're going to spend a bit more time on tonight is manage. So if I go to manage, you'll see it's Club and District Administration, Community Marketplace, Brand Center again, Products and Services, which was under Member Center as well. So we're going to really delve into Clubs and District Administration. Take a bit more time. How are any questions, Rick? Nope.
No.
Okay.
We're doing fine.
We're doing good. Well, and I'll just keep reiterating that the best way to learn is just get in there and try things out. Okay, so when you get this, so one thing that you've got is club administration. You have references, be a vibrant club, so you would pull out that information, strategic planning, and membership leads. And so I'm going to let Christine talk to you about this. Christine.
Thank you, Fran.
Okay.
If you can pull up the managed membership leads for the clubs, that would be great.
Yeah.
Oh,
let's see if I can. I may be in the wrong spot. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Doesn't want to pull it
Thank
up.
you. Oh, okay.
Just let me do it this way.
Sure, do it another way. And in the meantime, I will talk about what RI sees when they receive an inquiry about membership. So a prospective member or a relocating member will go into Rotary.org and will send in an interest in joining a Rotary. The RI staff screens this person and then assigns them to a district.
Yeah.
The district governor, the district membership chair, and the AGs all receive this message from RI saying they have a prospective member, and then they go online. Actually, the DG does not. The membership chair or designate will go online to review and match that prospect to a club.
So if you look at what I pulled up right now, this is for Lethbridge East, and we've had this person on since 2017. And to be quite honest, I didn't hear about it, but I don't know if I was present at the time. But I don't know. It was said it was assigned to our club, so it should have gotten to somebody in our club, and I don't know if it did. But
yeah, so there is a bit of a disconnect between the message of how to use these membership leads that come from RI, and Neil Berg and Dan Doherty are working on doing a Zoom specific
to
show clubs how to handle and manage these leads. But basically, the club president's secretary and membership chairs review the lead and take the next steps to either contact the prospect or ask the district to consider the prospect for another club.
Yeah.
Then there are the 5 steps that the clubs have to take for this lead. And I'm not going to go in detail. The clubs sign into my Rotary, whoever's administrating this particular membership lead, go into my Rotary to manage the lead. If you don't have any leads, the system tells you. Otherwise, it will list the leads that you currently have, and you click on the prospective member to view their information.
So if I clicked on this, let's see.
Yeah. So click on Mo.
And then you get where he's from. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And all the information.
Can I just cut in here briefly? This is Dan.
Yeah.
So the process is actually being managed by Pat Killorn and Nick Burke.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, Dan. If I could just continue, please. Thank you. Okay. Right now,
you've missed a couple of steps, Christine. So.
Okay, I'm.
Let her finish, please. Okay.
So that's the steps that the club will take, and the club officer, whoever's assigned to look after the membership leads, will continue to manage that lead and input the status each time. So if there's where you can see manage the status, that's where you can input what you've done so far. And like, there you go. So it changed the status. You do the drop down there.
Yeah.
You viewed the inquiry. You contacted them and assigned them to either a youth program or a club officer. And this will be more detailed later with the Neil going into this as an instructional tutorial. But it's just to show what it has. And currently at this time, Neil has Pat Killorn managing the membership leads on the district level, contacting the clubs and doing follow-up with the clubs to see how those leads are panning out for each club.
All right.
So there's also, the clubs will then, they can actually access the reports about their membership leads, current and historical, plus there is an executive summary analysis that they can obtain to find out how they have been handling the leads and what they're interested in. You can get a whole wealth of detailed information about the prospect and how the clubs are handling the leads.
Yes.
Membership development at Rotary.org is a quick link to more information on that. But ultimately, you know, we need to educate our members more on this, and we are working towards that. So thank you, Fran, and thanks for any questions. I'm happy to answer.
Okay, so I'm just going to take you back to club district administration so you can see when you pull up under manage club and district administration, that's so this is what I wanted. Yeah, so you have manage here. Alrighty, so that's where you would go. Oh, it's very frustrating at times. The one thing I will point out is when we go into Evanston, one of the things that they say is they feel that these leads aren't being used enough. And there are some areas where they're not hardly used at all. So they really are pushing for us to use them. And so.
Yeah, and thanks, Fran. And it's an education piece on our part that we have to educate our clubs and members and support them on how to use this. Really, it's a really important tool. So.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us
using it, and we will be helping you understand the program in the future about how to use it. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so club administration.
Yeah. Sorry, Fran. It's Jane here.
Hi, Jane.
From an AG perspective, I see this program working really well. Like, I've been getting all of the notifications of the new members that are interested and dealing with them. And Pat Killorn has been following up with me, and I think it's working really well. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, so I mean, I haven't seen that much of it, but we haven't been approached, so I don't know.
I'd like to add to that because, in fact, it is working really well, and we've got a number of new members this year as a result of it.
Good. Well, it's good. It wasn't before, so I'm glad you got it working.
So the key is you'll be getting the information, and when you receive it, we'll be following up with you. Either Pat or Neil or myself have been following up. So the process is working. We're trying to make it better. What is not working is the reporting back. So we have a gap on who has and hasn't reported. So it is working really well.
Well, that's good because we want to increase that, and that's one thing when we go for training, they're really pushing us to get people to use it more. So just to go back to club administration, if you want you always get sent your club invoice, but you can pull it up here. You can have your club balance. So all that information is here. You can edit members, etc., which you can also do through Club Runner as well. But all this information is in your club administration. And then they have things for Rotaract as well, if you sponsor, etc. So this would be if you wanted to go in and look at, you maybe couldn't find your invoice, but usually you get it sent, etc. Exchange rates, Rotary sets their exchange rates. If you need to know, you can click on that. So all this information is here that you can go in and take a look at. So from there, just if you go back to manage, you'll see there's district administration, again, reports. And now what I'm going to spend the last bit of time on is Rotary Club Central, which is the one we're really trying to get people to use a bit more. And again, I have to sign in. Hopefully this will soon stop. And any other questions before we move on to this?
Nope.
Okay. So this is where you're going to set your goals. And you will see up here, it'll be my club. So it'll be Lethbridge East you're looking at. So the very first thing that comes up is the dashboard. And so it'll give you it'll tell you how good you are at setting some of the things. For instance, here's our membership trends. We dropped a lot because we had a satellite club and that folded. So, but we are growing. We're actually at 30. So it's, we've grown a bit. One thing that I really discovered when I looked at this first is we had a lot of unreported genders. So I made sure that we actually got everybody reported. So that will tell you if you've got people reported. And ages, and this always seems to be an issue where people don't want to report their age, but nobody else can really see it other than maybe your managers. And so it's important, from my standpoint, it's important for you to look at, because you want to see where your club stands and where your demographic is and where you need to maybe do something about it or what's going on. And you know, from Rotary's standpoint, it's really important that they know how many women are in or what age groups they're looking at, etc. We'll get into the project funding and volunteers because we'll deal with that later. And again, you can quickly look at how you're doing with your annual fund. We know that we have people who give every month, so we'll easily hit our goal. So that's kind of a dashboard that gives you an overview on where you are. So quickly, the goal center, this is the one that your district governor and everybody else would very much like you to fill out for this coming year. It's very easy, actually. This is 2018-19, so this is this year's. And we will just quickly go through. So members and engagement. So you just have to go, what's your goal? How many members do you think you're going to have? Service participation. Now this is something that actually gets entered in by when you put something in your service activities. So don't worry too much about that. New member sponsorship. How many new members have you put in? I believe this is, yeah. So actually what I'm going to do is go back to this year. So this is the previous year. This was the year last year, which I can edit and I'll tell you all who can edit at the end, but I can because I was president, co-president last year. So what did we add? We had a goal of 30, we got 28. Service participation, how many service projects did you have? New member sponsorship, etc. These ones you would enter. Leadership development participation, things like, did you do this? Did you go to RILA or to Rotary Leadership Institute? How many people attended the conference? So you enter this kind of thing, so that this year, what they would like you to do is just quickly go into your goal center and enter what you think you will achieve. Training participation, things like that. Rotary Fellowship participation. That things. Foundation giving. This one actually is one that you can set a goal for, but all of this stuff will be automatically put in by Rotary. So they'll keep track of that for you. So you don't have to worry about the amounts, but they will put it in as it comes up. Service. Okay, so this is what we'll go and deal with in a few minutes, the service activities over here and things. Young leaders. So you have, are you a sponsor of a Rotaract club? Do you have an Interact club? Do you have inbound exchange students, outbound? And how many students did you send to RILA? So that's pretty straightforward, etc. Public image, again, very straightforward information, take you not even 10 minutes to fill this out. So when you're finished with this presentation, I would suggest you just go in, and if you want to do it with your club and have a discussion, then go in and decide what your plans are. And then the Rotary citation just tells how you do for all of the things that the president has set. And then all just goes through all of them. So if you don't want to do it by little groups, you can just do it all at once. So I'm going to just stop there, and anything coming, Rick?
Yeah, so Fran, when we're talking about, one thing I'd like to ask about is the Rotary citation, about setting goals and achieving those goals, and what the Rotary citation is. It is a recognition to clubs for having achieved certain goals, and it's a great tool to have right in front of each time you have a board meeting, to have it in front of you saying, are we meeting our goals that we've set? So it's a great tool for that. So, and I do have the Rotary citation pamphlets coming out, and they'll be delivered through your AGs before the beginning of your next year. So please pay attention to that, because that really gives people a purpose. So, and gives members a purpose in their club. So yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Fran?
Yeah.
There was a question that came from Marty Bouillons from Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
And it's relating to new generation service exchange needs perhaps to have a goal there. Is there any way that those people from the clubs that are entering the goals can add their own?
No, not that I know of. But okay, so when we go to service projects or service activities, maybe, I don't know if it would fit in there. I'm not quite sure what she's asking. So what?
Well, she's just saying that our new generation service exchange could be a goal that some clubs would be interested in. It would fall under the youth area.
Yeah. So new generation service exchange, explain that to me. What not? Sure. Are you talking about youth exchange? No.
No, it's for 18 to 30-year-olds who are either in their later stages of the university or in their early stages of their career, who want to gain some experience in their field of study or field of career in another country, in another organization, for up to 3 months.
Okay, I think we can add it through the service activities. Okay, so we can have a discussion on that, and that's where I'm going to take you now. Is that okay?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into the global view. You can check it. It's how you stack up next to every other club in the world. And if you want to look at that, that's great. Okay, so this is something that I actually quite like. I like it because you add in all the things that your club does, and it's the benefits to me are, number one, you show your club all the things that you do, because a lot of times we have no clue on everything that we do, and we don't have a big picture of it. Rotary, RI, and the district don't have a big picture of it. And when we're trying to encourage partnerships, one of the best ways is to say, look what we do. Look at the number of volunteers. Look how we serve the community. And this gives you stats. And that's why I think this is a really important one. And I know a lot of people think, oh, it's a lot of work. It really isn't. So these are some of the things we've done by our club. We've done 10,000, we just gave a $10,000 agricultural scholarship to somebody. So I'm going to click on that so you can sort of see what you come up with and what you have. So that you have a project title, so you put that in. You have a summary saying what you did and what was the date and how long did it take you. So basically the only part that I'm not sure I really like here is you can only do a calendar, like our calendar year. So you can only start from the beginning of July. So if it overruns, you run it into your next year. So you have to, it's a year. So that's how it's seen. And our end date was February, where we had our project, and how many volunteers worked on it. So you decide, well, I think we're going to have eight worked on it. Number of volunteer hours, you can either, you need to sort of try to keep track. Cash contributions, did you get any? But when we donated goods, we had close to 26,000. So we actually could have offered 2 scholarships this year, and hopefully next year we will. And then this part is where you choose different project details, excuse me. So who was it for? Well, it was for young leaders. Okay, so the things that are here is community, international, vocational, young leaders, fundraisers. You choose where you think it fits, and you can choose more than one. So you could decide, oh, it fits here, here, and here. And then over here is who did you partner with? And the thing, when I was in Chicago, I mentioned to them that I think that they should make this something where you can fill it in, because I really believe that we need to know who are we partnering with, and I think Rotary needs to know who we're partnering with. So who did you work with? Did you work with other Rotary clubs, et cetera, et cetera? So that kind of gives you an overview of how you would fill it out. And just to go back to what we were talking about before, what we also do is we do some youth programs, obviously. So we entered Adventures in Citizenship in here as well. And again, so Rick, I think that's where you could put in your new generations.
Yeah, Margie and I have just been chatting things like RAYAC and RIPEN, which are not official Rotary programs. So, I think this is the place to put it.
This is the place to put it. So we have RIPEN, and actually fundraisers can be put in. So we put in our Rotary fundraiser, entrepreneur camp, etc. So at the bottom, you can see the summary, and this is where you get your information. So how many projects did you think you would have? You projected 7, you already have 8. Number of volunteer hours. We work the soup kitchen the 3rd Thursday of every month, so we get a lot of volunteer hours. How much cash is you contributions and donated goods and services? And that information, I think, is really invaluable, because it's invaluable for your club to realize that they're putting in this many hours, this much money, etc. And so it's really well worth using, I think, and would really encourage people to do it. And it would really give information to our district and to Rotary, to RI, on what sort of community things and what are things that they didn't think about people would do, or etc. So anything else? Any questions there?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Just a quick comment.
Yeah.
This is your club's bragging page. Yeah. This is where you show your club members who've kind of forgotten about some of the stuff that you're actually doing, what you're doing and what you're achieving. And that it's an incredible tool. So thanks.
I'd really like to see people use it more. And so quickly, I'm going to go through the rest. I think basically those two, the goal center, which is so easy to use, it shouldn't take you long to fill it out. And the service activity, if we could encourage you to try to use this, because I think it's really worthwhile. And I think it just gives us much more information on where we're working and what we're doing. Resources is basically, hey, how do you set a goal in Rotary Club Central? So they have everything. I mean, they have more information and PDFs than you can imagine. So all this stuff you could pull out. Reports, again, you could do club growth if you want to know what you're doing. District reports, I think some of this you won't be able to see. And contact us. I've used this quite often, and I actually used it the other day because I had a question for them, and they're very good about answering. And you just go there, you fill it out, ask your question, and I asked it on a Friday, and I had the answer this morning, and it was great. And so my question was to them, so who can edit club goals, etc.? And this is a sheet that they say they don't usually send out, which I don't understand, but anyway. So at the club level, the people who can enter your goals and edit them are your president, secretary, treasurer, foundation chair, membership chair, and if you have an executive secretary. So those group of people can actually enter the goals into your goal center and just work on your service. And the interesting thing is they can enter both, for the year, the active term, they can edit their goals the year prior to when their year starts and the year after. So I actually can go back into the year of last year and enter more goals. So, or not, but sort of results. So that's also what we can do. Okay.
Hand up, Fran. It's Jane here again.
Okay. Hi, Jane.
Hi. Also, the assistant governor can do that as well, because I did that for a number of clubs last year.
Yeah. Maybe you should ask them first, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
Oh, good. All righty.
It would be just, Jane, it would be just for your clubs only.
Yeah.
Exactly. So agreed. Yes, Rick.
So if you go to the top of this, not so much here, but when you go to the goal center, you'll see all districts, club groups, and all clubs. Well, because I'm an assistant Rotary coordinator, I can go in and see different groups of clubs, etc. I have that access, which is partly why I thought we were signing in twice. So, and then back to my Rotary. But basically, so the last thing I want to show you is if we go back to my Rotary, and this is where I think it will help you if you think you're overloaded and need someone in your club to take on some of these jobs. And it's this up here, and it's called delegation. So you can actually, and my club president delegated access to me. So delegation is where you are allowed permission to somebody else to conduct online business on your behalf. So you'll see here, I don't have any roles delegated, but Bob Jones has delegated, the club president has delegated from today, or from the 29th to the 2nd. That was so I could show you the editing. If you feel like maybe not one of your people who can get in has time and you want someone else to enter the service things, all you need to do is click on delegation here, and it would allow you to delegate one of your members to delegate your role. So it describes your roles, so whatever you are, and then you would go through and follow you would go and delegate this role. So let's say I don't want to show you exactly, but you can see here I would delegate role. And I'd click on that and I'd put down the person's name and say who I want to delegate and for how long. So it's a really good tool if you if you want someone else to go in, especially with the service projects, you might have somebody who's working on like our scholarship who really had more knowledge than the president, because that was what they worked on, and you would delegate them for maybe 2 days or something to go in and enter that information. So that's a very important tool, I think, that a lot of people don't know about. Okay, so that's my Rotary and Rotary Club Central, and it just took us a little over an hour. There you go.
Thanks, Fran. You did say that you would likely be an hour, and you were pretty darn close. I would like to open it up if anybody has questions. We are ahead of time, but don't want to necessarily keep everybody here till 8:30. But if anybody has a question, I think you can unmute yourself and just fire away.
Fran, it's Christine. In discussion, Fran has also offered to, if a few clubs want to come together and go through this practice, she's offered to do that. I mean, so please stay in touch with Fran if you have any questions whatsoever about accessing my Rotary Club Central, the goals you can set. Please, she's there. I'm throwing her name out. She's there to help you. So, so
Yeah,
I just want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no problem. So if people want to get hold of me, just do. And I'm sure my email is on Club Runner. So.
This is Doris Kibermanis from Innisfil. Can you hear me at all or not?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this would be very beneficial for Innisfil. Like if someone could come out and teach some of the members on if we could have maybe someone come out as a guest and we could maybe go through that over at one of our meetings or something, because we seem like to have some problems. I guess that the main administrator, he hasn't been to our club for about a year, and I don't have the proper access myself, and so if there's someone that can override him, that would probably help out quite a bit. I feel like I'm going in a gray area because I'm not the president, but I am the club secretary.
You should be able to get on, yeah. But you should be able to enter because you're the secretary.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be letting me. So I will try again. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I know that when I did talk to the governor, he said I needed to have I'm sorry, I don't totally understand, but I needed to have a higher number or something.
Oh, that's with Club Runner. Yeah. So yeah, you need someone to give you higher access. I think even Charlene could do that, couldn't she?
Yeah. Well, actually, he did send an email to Charlene, and Charlene came back and said that it had to be this club administrator. But he's actually on a leave because he's not well, and his wife is ill as well.
Okay.
So he's been away. So we're kind of struggling a bit unless Michelle's been trying to do as best that she can, and she's actually doing a wonderful job as a president. But, you know, we're kind of struggling a bit in that area.
Okay. Well, we'll have to figure something out. I'm sure between everybody we can.
Well, we have Mary that comes out once in a while. I don't know, Fran, where are you from?
I'm from Lethbridge.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, because Mary's close, like she's just in Olds, but I don't know whether or not she'd take on that role or not. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think we can talk about that with Christine and Dan. And
okay,
yes,
sure.
I got this written down. I'm going to call you. Okay, is that okay if I give you a call? Can I give you a call? It's Christine. Not tonight, but I'll call you tomorrow and help you through that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know some of how to work around these things. So I have your number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Good. I can see what I can do. Let's have that in a different conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Anything else? Nope.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, if not, thanks, Fran, for doing a fantastic job of walking us through navigation of my Rotary and Rotary Club Central. And there's no question in my mind, it's a tremendous resource. People just need to play around with it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. I don't think you can hurt it. It is a very complex thing, but as Fran mentioned, usually you can find the information that you're looking for in a minimum of 2, sometimes 3 different ways. And I guess the other thing I want to thank everybody here for participating. We didn't quite get our 76. We were 51 at most, but that's 51 that I hope can say they had a good evening, learned something, and are now prepared to do a little navigating on your own.
Yeah, and I'd like to add my thanks to Fran, Charlene, and Rick for coordinating this evening on behalf of our clubs and members. And please, any questions following this, please submit them, and we will, look after those questions, see if there's a way to help with some of the, if there's some stumbling blocks that you're having with maneuvering around the system, we're happy to help. So please feel free.
Yeah.
And I guess one last thing, Fran, I should have mentioned earlier. As far as we know, this Zoom session was recorded.
Yeah.
We've got to go back and have a look at it. Secondly, Fran was so kind to actually prepare PowerPoint slides that I've been following here as we go through. And we will see that everybody that attended tonight's session will get a set of that. Yeah. And probably within the next 2 or 3 days, look for a very quick feedback survey on what you thought.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording, guys.
Okay.
And